"This handmade gift looks so cheap," my granddaughter said, and laughter filled the room. The next morning, I decided to sell the beach house where she'd planned her wedding. Love shouldn't feel like humiliation, not even when it comes from your own family. If you're watching this, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Have you ever stood in a room full of people and felt completely invisible? 3 months before that party, I sat by the window. Ocean light through lace curtains, waves somewhere distant. The yarn was sea blue, Jessica's eye color when she was small. The color she loved, ocean, sky, everything vast. Each stitch held something. Teaching her to paint, beach walks at dawn, chocolate chip cookies, her small hands mixing. I tucked a tiny shell button at the corner. From our first beach walk together, she'd been 7. I never imagined those words. Look so cheap. Sarah stood beside Jessica. New Chanel dress, pearl earrings catching light. The guests, yacht club friends, wealthy neighbors, crowded the living room. The gift table overflowed. Tiffany boxes, Gucci bags, thick envelopes with embossed names. I was the only one who'd brought something handmade. My husband's old Timex pressed against my wrist. My Oxford shoes polished 3 times that morning. I poured lemonade from the glass pitcher. My hand trembled slightly. Jessica unwrapped the scarf. Her face shifted. "Grandma, I thought you'd give me something, useful." Sarah leaned in, smiled at the room. "Mother Margaret still lives in the past, dear. Not everyone understands modern taste." Laughter rippled from the women at the wine table. One of Jessica's friends, blonde, 20-something stage, whispered, "Vintage poverty chic isn't really Jessica's vibe." More laughter. My face burned, but my voice stayed level when I said, "I made it by hand." "We can see that," Sarah said. The room found this hilarious. I set down the pitcher. Condensation wet my palm. Then I heard it. My son Daniel, laughing. Just once. A short bark of sound. But I heard it. The man I'd raised, the boy I'd nursed through pneumonia at 4, the teenager I'd driven to baseball practice for 6 years. He laughed at me. That's when something inside me went quiet. Not angry, not hurt, just quiet, like a door closing somewhere deep. That evening, I cleaned up alone. Sarah's iPad sat on the kitchen counter, left behind, screen still glowing. I reached to turn it off. Then I saw the email. Open, mid-conversation, Daniel and Sarah. The subject line, "Beach house plan." I stopped breathing. "Mom won't live forever. Beach house is prime real estate, $2.3 million valuation. Jessica's wedding in July is perfect timing. Once she hosts it there, we can convince Mom to gift it to Jessica as wedding present. She won't say no in front of everyone." Blue light in the dark kitchen. The refrigerator hummed. My hands shook as I pulled out my phone. Screenshot. The evidence saved. I set the iPad down exactly where I'd found it. Then I Saturday kitchen chair, cold wood. 6 months rewound in my head. Sarah's sudden attention. Lunch invitations. "Let me treat you to a massage, Margaret." New clothes she'd insist I accept. Daniel's voice on the phone. "Mom, you should really update your will. Make things clear." Jessica visiting more. Her phone always out, photographing every corner, every window, the ocean view. All of it ending up on Instagram with captions like "family legacy" and "dream venue." I'd thought they finally saw me. They saw the house. This place, where Tom died 5 years ago, where I raised Daniel, where Jessica learned to swim, to read, to be. They'd been running a campaign, and I'd been inventory. I held my cold tea, looked out the window at black waves. The wedding invitations. They'd already sent them out. I'd seen one on Sarah's phone weeks ago, hadn't thought much of it. Ceremony at grandmother's oceanfront estate. They'd never asked me. Morning brought the proof. My neighbor Mrs. Patterson handed it to me over the fence. "How exciting, Margaret. I had no idea Jessica was getting married here." The invitation stock was thick, expensive, embossed gold lettering. A photograph dominated the front. My beach house, aerial shot, professional. The text. "Join us for the wedding of Jessica Sullivan and Brandon Matthews. July 15, 2025. Ceremony at the historic Sullivan Beach House. 247 Ocean View Drive. My name appeared nowhere. Not as host, not as grandmother. Nowhere. I went inside, sat at the dining table, early light through the windows. The invitation trembled in my hands. I called Jessica. Sweetheart, about the wedding invitation. Oh, Grandma, her voice bright. Practiced. Mom said you'd agreed. You're so generous. We've already booked the caterers, the florist, everything. It's going to be beautiful. I never. Brandon's so excited. His family loves the beach house photos. This is going to be perfect. Jessica, I didn't. Gotta run. Dress fitting in 20. Love you. Click. I sat there. 5 minutes. The invitation on the table. My house. Their venue. That afternoon, they arrived. No warning. Sarah, Jessica, 3 strangers. Mother Margaret. Sarah's voice filled the entryway. Meet Vanessa, our wedding planner, and Marcus, photographer, and Diane, florist extraordinaire. They moved through my home like a survey team, measuring, photographing, taking notes. Vanessa pointed at the living room furniture. We'll need to clear all this. The vintage pieces don't photograph well in natural light. Sarah nodded. We'll store it safely, Mother Margaret. Don't worry. Marcus's camera flashed. Over and over. Each flash made me flinch. They moved to Tom's study, the room where he died. Heart attack. 5 years ago, March. His desk still held his reading glasses, his fountain pen, the crossword he never finished. Vanessa pulled out a tape measure. Perfect for the bridal suite, she said. Sarah's perfume, something dark, expensive, choked the air. Her heels clicked on the old wood floors, each step like a small violence. I stood on the stairs, watching them colonize my home, my peaceful house, the place Tom and I built, where we raised Daniel, where Jessica took her first steps. They were turning it into a commercial venue, a backdrop, a prop. I went to the kitchen, put the kettle on, found the chamomile tea, poured, Saturday, looked out at the ocean. Behind me, Vanessa's voice, we'll hang ceremony drapes here, white chiffon, very romantic. Diane, hydrangeas on every surface, blue and white, classic coastal. Sarah, Jessica wants photos on the deck at sunset. Marcus, can you check the angles? More clicking heels, more camera flashes, more measuring tape. My home, being dismantled, redistributed, erased. I heard Vanessa in the study again. Perfect for the bridal suite, she repeated to someone. I set down my teacup, carefully, on the saucer. It didn't break. Dawn came cold. I walked the beach alone, sand firm under my feet, gulls calling overhead. Margaret. Helen, standing near the water's edge, 68 like me, 40 years of friendship, retired attorney, sharp eyes that missed nothing. She looked at my face. You have that look, she said, the one I've seen in my clients. We sat at the small coffee shop near the pier, the place we'd been coming to for decades. Waves hit the shore, steady, endless, salt air through the open door. I told her everything, the scarf, the laughter, the email, the invasion. Helen didn't interrupt, just listened, sipped her black coffee. When I finished, she set down her cup. What would you tell your students, she asked, if they let someone treat their art like trash? The question landed like a stone. 30 years teaching art, hundreds of students. I'd always said the same thing, never let anyone diminish your worth, not even family. I'd said it 1,000 times, but I hadn't lived it. Helen leaned forward. You taught hundreds of kids to set boundaries, Margaret. Time to take your own lesson. She reached into her purse, pulled out a business card. Robert Mitchell, real estate attorney, best I know. She slid it across the table. If you need to protect what's yours. I held the card. White, simple, black text, the edges crisp against my fingers. Something shifted, settled. I'd spent 40 years building a home. They saw it as a transaction. My love was inventory. I looked out the window at the beach houses dotting the coast. How many had been someone's entire world? How many became just property lines and sale prices? I folded the card, carefully, slipped it into my wallet next to Tom's photo. Thank you, I said. Helen touched my hand. Brief, firm. You're not being cruel, you're being clear. We finished our coffee in silence. I walked home slowly. The morning light turned everything gold. By the time I reached my door, I knew exactly what I needed to do. The house key felt different in my hand. Heavier. Or maybe I was different. Maybe I'd finally stopped carrying weight that was never mine to hold. I called the number on Helen's card. Robert Mitchell's office. I need to see him today. 2 hours later, I sat across from him. Corner office, harbor view, sailboats cutting white lines through blue water. I'd brought everything. Property deed, legal documents, the screenshot of Sarah and Daniel's email, the wedding invitation with my house on the front. Robert was 50, silver hair, quiet intensity. He read through it all, methodical, no reaction until he finished. Mrs. Sullivan, he looked up. This house is entirely yours, sole ownership. They have zero legal claim. I know. You want to sell it? Not a question. Yes. He leaned back, tented his fingers. Private sale moves fast, 2 to 3 weeks if we have a buyer lined up. Appraisal, contract, closing. The photocopy machine hummed in the next room. Papers rustled, phones rang distant. Sunlight slanted through the windows, made everything sharp. The wedding's July 15th, I said. We can close a month before that, easily. Can we keep it confidential? Attorney-client privilege. They won't know until it's done. I looked at the harbor. A ferry moved across the water. Slow, steady. Are you certain? Robert asked. They're your family? I met his eyes. I'm choosing me. Finally. He nodded once. Let's do it. Robert laid out the plan. Step 1. Property appraisal. 2 to 3 days. Step 2. Contact the buyer. 1 week. There was a developer who'd made an offer last year. Still interested. Step 3. Purchase agreement. 3 days. Step 4. Closing. 10 days. 3 weeks total, 1 month before the wedding. Can we keep this completely confidential? I asked again. Until closing, yes. After that, it's public record. But by then, it's done. I signed the power of attorney. My hand didn't shake. Robert witnessed it, dated it, filed it in a folder with my name. I stood, shook his hand, looked him in the eye. Thank you. I'll call you tomorrow with the appraisal schedule. At home, I started sorting, not crying. This required a clear head. I moved through the rooms like inventory. Tom's things first. His reading glasses, his watch collection, the fountain pens he'd loved, the leather jacket that still smelled like him, box, tape, label, keep Tom. Family photos, the good years, Daniel as a baby, Jessica learning to walk, Christmases, birthdays, box, tape, label, keep, memories. The children's art, crayon drawings, finger paintings, all of Daniel's, most of Jessica's, not the recent ones. Not the ones she'd made when she stopped visiting for me and started visiting for Instagram. Box, tape, label, keep, art. Then I saw it. The blue scarf, still in the gift box, abandoned on the sofa where Jessica had left it. I picked it up, the yarn soft between my fingers, each stitch holding 3 months of work, of love. I found the shell button, still attached at the corner, tiny, perfect. From that first beach walk when she was 7. Night jasmine drifted through the open window, the ocean breeze cool. I traced the pattern I'd made, every row intentional, every stitch a memory. She'd called it cheap. I folded it, carefully, precisely, found a box, placed the scarf inside, wrote on the label, keep. Robert called the next evening. The buyer from last year is still interested. Coastal Development LLC. They're offering $2.5 million, all cash, close in 14 days. More than the 2.3 Sarah and Daniel had planned to steal. What will they do with it? Mini resort, 6 luxury units. They'll tear down the existing structure. I looked around the living room. Tom's reading chair by the window, the ink stain on the wall from when Daniel was 12, the doorframe where we'd marked the kids' heights. 40 years of life, about to be erased. The house will be torn down? I asked. Probably. But once you sign, it's not your house anymore. You're selling property, not memories. I touch the wall, paint cool under my palm. A house is wood and nails. A home is respect and love. They wanted the house. They'd never valued the home. I'll take it, I said. I'll draft the papers. After I hung up, I went through my phone. Blocked Daniel's number, blocked Sarah's, blocked Jessica's. Not forever, just until it was done. The appraiser arrived Tuesday morning. Professional, efficient, clipboard and camera. He moved through my house, measuring every room, photographing every angle, testing every fixture. I stood on the deck, watched the ocean, let him work. Behind me, his footsteps, his voice into a recorder. Master bedroom, 14 by 16. Original hardwood, somewhere. Ocean-facing windows, good light. Clinical. Reducing 40 years to square footage and condition assessments. He spent 3 hours. When he left, he shook my hand. Beautiful property, Mrs. Sullivan. Prime location. I'll have the report by Thursday. Thursday afternoon, Robert called. Appraisal came in at $2.4 million. Age of the structure, some deferred maintenance, but the location carries it. And the buyer's offer? Still 2.5. They want it fast. They'll waive inspection, skip contingencies. Cash deal. When can we sign? I can have the purchase agreement ready by Monday. Do it. Monday, June 5th. Robert's office again. Same harbor view, different documents. The purchase agreement sat on his desk. 47 pages. I read every word. Old teaching habit. Never sign what you haven't read. Seller, Margaret Ann Sullivan. Buyer, Coastal Development LLC. Purchase price, $2,500,000. Closing date, June 25, 2025. 3 weeks before the wedding. I picked up the pen Robert offered. Black ink, heavy weight, signed each page where the yellow tabs marked. My handwriting steady, the same careful letters I'd used grading papers for 30 years. When I finished, I set the pen down. Done, Robert said. Closing is set. June 25th, 10 a.m. The next 2 weeks, I packed. Not everything. The contract specified I'd leave all furniture, all fixtures. The house sold as is with contents. Only my personal belongings. I started in the bedroom, opened Tom's closet. His scent hit me. Faint now. 5 years faded, but still there. His wool coat, his favorite sweater. The tie he wore to our son's wedding. I folded each piece, placed them in boxes, labeled them in my careful teacher's hand. The study next. His books, hundreds of them. History, philosophy, mystery novels he'd read before bed. I ran my fingers along the spines. Some I'd given him. Some he'd collected over decades. I packed the ones with his notes in the margins, left the rest. The kitchen. Our knife set from our wedding, 43 years old, still sharp. The apron I'd embroidered, the one Sarah had mocked. The cast iron pan we'd used every Sunday for pancakes when Daniel was small. Box, tape, label. The living room held the photo albums. I sat on the floor, opened each one. Daniel as a baby. Toothless smile. Tom holding him, looking down with such wonder. Jessica at 7. On the beach, holding that shell, the one I'd saved for the scarf button. Jessica at 16. The last year she'd smiled at me like I mattered. After that, the photos changed. She was there, but distant, always on her phone, always leaving early. I kept the albums from before, left the rest. In the corner, I found her drawings. Crayon sunshine, stick figure families. I love Grandma in wobbly letters. I kept those too. The recent art, the Instagram-worthy pieces she'd made for college applications I left behind. June 24th. Moving day. The company arrived at 8 a.m. 2 men, a truck. They loaded my labeled boxes. Efficient. Quick. Tom's things. My clothes. The books. The photos. The art. The blue scarf in its special box. All of it fitting into one small truck. 40 years condensed to cargo. By noon, they were gone. I stood in the empty house. Not empty. The furniture remained, the fixtures, the curtains, but soulless. A shell. I walked through each room one last time. The bedroom where Tom died. I touched the doorframe. I'm not abandoning you, I whispered. I'm saving myself. You'd understand. The study where I'd graded papers while he read beside me. The kitchen where we'd made breakfast every Sunday for 40 years. The living room where Jessica had taken her first steps. All of it about to belong to someone else. I stepped onto the deck. The ocean stretched out, endless, unchanging, waves breaking on the shore. Same rhythm as 40 years ago. Same rhythm as 40 years from now. The wind moved through my hair. Gray now. Used to be brown. Salt air. Gull calls. The smell of summer. I'd leave this. But I'd carry it too. Memory doesn't need walls. June 25th, 10 a.m. The title company office. Sterile. Fluorescent lights. Conference table. I wore my blue cardigan. Ocean blue. The color of freedom. Robert sat beside me. Across the table, the buyer's attorney. Beside him, a man in his 50s, well-dressed, confident. Mrs. Sullivan, this is James Harrison. Coastal Development. We shook hands. Beautiful property, Harrison said. We're excited about the project. What will you build? 6 luxury condos, ocean view units, high-end finishes. We'll break ground in August. You'll tear down the house. Not a question. I already knew. Yes, the structure's sound, but it doesn't fit our vision. The land's the real value. The title officer arrived, set down a stack of documents. Let's begin. 23 papers. Deed transfer, title documents, disclosure forms, tax statements. I signed each one, my hand tired by the end, but my heart felt lighter with each signature. The title officer collected everything, organized it, filed it. Congratulations, she said. The property has transferred. Harrison's attorney slid an envelope across the table. I opened it, a cashier's check, made out to Margaret Ann Sullivan. $2,250,000. After fees, after commission, $2,250,000. The number Sarah and Daniel had calculated as family legacy, now mine, completely, to do with as I chose. Pleasure doing business, Harrison said. I hope the new owners love the ocean view, I said. I drove to the house one last time. The moving truck had taken my things to storage. I'd deal with them later. But I needed to do this last thing. The house stood quiet, waiting for demolition. I unlocked the door, stepped inside, walked through the empty rooms, my footsteps echoing. Stopped in the study. Tom's desk stood by the window. They'd leave it for now, demolish it with the rest. I touched the wood, smooth, worn where his hands had rested. Thank you, I said, for everything. I moved to the kitchen, found a notepad in the drawer, a pen, wrote, The garden needs watering every evening. The 3rd step creaks, it's charming, not broken. May this place bring you peace before it's gone. I left the note on the counter. Then I took my house keys off my key ring. 2 keys, brass, worn from 40 years of use, set them beside the note. Walked to the deck one final time. The ocean rolled in, endless, indifferent to human transactions. The wind lifted my hair. I stood there, breathing salt air, listening to waves, saying goodbye to wood and nails, keeping the home in my heart. Then I walked out, closed the door behind me, didn't look back. My phone showed 47 missed calls. Daniel, Sarah, Jessica. Unknown numbers, probably their friends, their attorney maybe. I didn't check the voicemails. I knew what they'd say. Panic, rage, accusations. The sale was public record now. They knew. I sat in a small coffee shop downtown. Corner table, away from windows, unblocked their numbers. The voicemails flooded in. I put in my earbuds, listened. Sarah first. Her voice sharp, shaking. Mother, what have you done? The buyer's attorney contacted us about vacating the property. You sold my house? Daniel next. Trying for calm, failing. Mom, this is insane. We need to talk. Now. Call me back. This is you can't just call me. Jessica. Crying, gulping air between words. Grandma, my wedding. You ruined everything. How could you do this to me? To us? How could you? Then more. Sarah again. Threats now. We're contesting this. Our attorney says there are grounds. Undue influence. Mental competency. You can't. Daniel, pleading. Mom, please. We can fix this. We can work something out. Just call me, please. Jessica. Anger replacing tears. You're selfish. You're cruel. Everyone's asking me what happened. I have to tell them my grandmother sold our venue. 47 messages total. Panic to rage to begging to threats. The full cycle. My cappuccino sat cold in front of me. The phone hot in my hand. I took out the earbuds. Opened a group text. Daniel, Sarah, Jessica. Typed. Family meeting. My temporary apartment. Tomorrow 2 p.m. Come if you want answers. Sent the address. Put the phone away. The apartment I'd rented was downtown, 12th floor, city view, no ocean. I'd done that on purpose. The space was simple. New sofa, wood table, a few unpacked boxes against the wall. No photographs yet, no memories on display. This wasn't a home. This was a beginning. Saturday morning, the day of the meeting, I made tea, set out cookies on a plate, like preparing for my students. But this wasn't a class. This was a reckoning. I dressed simply, gray sweater, black pants, Tom's watch on my wrist. The apartment had floor-to-ceiling windows, clean glass, no lace curtains, no ocean view to soften things, just city, hard lines, clear light. I sat in the single chair, folded my hands, waited. 2 p.m. exactly. The knock came hard, aggressive. I opened the door, they burst in. Daniel first, face red. Then Sarah, perfectly dressed even in crisis. Then Jessica, eyes swollen from crying. Sarah spoke before I could. Where's the contract? We need to reverse this. Daniel moved past me. Mom, you can't just sell without telling your family. Jessica stood in the doorway, sobbing. My wedding venue, my photographer, all my deposits. I closed the door, didn't raise my voice. Sit down, all of you. Something in my tone made them stop. They looked at me, really looked. I wasn't the woman they'd dismissed at the party. They Saturday, on the sofa, across from my chair, like students called to the principal's office. I stayed standing. The house was mine, I said, legally, fully paid, in my name only. Mom? I held up one hand. Daniel stopped. You planned to take it. I saw the emails, Sarah. I pulled out the printed screenshots, laid them on the table. Sarah's face went white. You sent wedding invitations using my property without asking. Jessica. The invitation joined the emails. Jessica looked away. You laughed when they mocked my gift, Daniel. My son flinched. Sarah recovered first. We were planning a gift, a surprise. Surprises require consent. You were planning a heist. That's not. I have the evidence, all of it, on this table. My hands didn't shake. My voice stayed level. 30 years of teaching, 30 years of catching cheaters, of confronting liars. I knew how to do this. But Mom, Daniel said, we're family. I looked at him. My son, 55 years old, still expecting me to fold. Family respects, I said. Family asks. Family doesn't laugh at handmade love. Jessica started crying again. I didn't move. I gave you childhoods, education, love. I gave Jessica every summer of her life. My eyes moved to my granddaughter. You gave me ridicule. To Daniel. You gave me scheming. Back to all of them. I gave myself freedom. Silence. Then Sarah stood, her face twisted. You'll regret this. You'll die alone. I walked to the kitchen, poured myself more tea. Calm, steady, turned back to her. Maybe, but I'll die mine. The door slammed. Their footsteps echoed down the hallway, fading, gone. I stood by the window, didn't move for 10 minutes. No tears, no shaking, just deep silence. The city spread below me, unfamiliar. No ocean, no past painted on every corner. This is what freedom tastes like. Not sweet, not bitter. Just clear. My phone buzzed on the table. Daniel. Mom. I'm sorry. But you went too far. I read it. Set the phone down, opened the settings, Blocked Daniel's number, blocked Sarah's, blocked Jessica's, not forever. Just until I could breathe, without their voices in my head. I touched the new table. Wood smooth under my palm, pine, unfamiliar grain. The smell was different too. Fresh, no salt air, no 40 years of cooking embedded in the walls. Car horns drifted up from the street below. I opened my laptop, typed an email to Robert. Thank you for everything. Wire transfer completed? His reply came 5 minutes later. Yes, 2.25 million in your account. You're free, Mrs. Sullivan. Free. The word looked strange on the screen, but it felt true. Monday morning, Eleanor Kim's office, financial planning, 20th floor. She was 60, certified financial planner, 25 years of experience. No-nonsense eyes. We sat across from each other, her desk organized, precise. Tell me what you want, she said. I'd thought about this. Security, independence, and maybe generosity. On my terms. She nodded, made notes. Here's what I recommend. She drew a simple chart. 500,000 in liquid savings. Emergency fund plus living expenses for 10 years. Conservative estimate, 1 million in balanced investment portfolio. 60% stocks, 40% bonds. Growth with stability. 500,000 in 2 trust funds, one for education scholarships, one for family emergency if they truly need it. Not want. Need. 250,000 to purchase a small condo, wherever you choose, or keep it flexible. Travel first. Decide later. I looked at the numbers. My entire life as a teacher, I'd lived on 50,000 a year. Now I had 45 years of salary sitting in an account. Travel plans? Eleanor asked. I haven't left California in 15 years. And now? I'm thinking, everywhere. She smiled. Small, professional, but real. You're setting yourself up beautifully, Margaret. She slid papers across the desk. Investment agreements, trust documents, account authorizations. I signed each one. The pen felt light. Different from signing away the house. That had been heavy. Final. This was possibility. Sunlight came through the windows. 12th floor, same as my apartment, high enough to see far. Eleanor collected the documents. One more thing, I said. I need a new will. Of course. Specific terms. If Daniel, Sarah, or Jessica want to inherit anything, they must write me a letter, explaining why they deserve it. Not asking, explaining. Eleanor's pen paused, then continued. Conditional inheritance. Clear criteria. Yes. They might contest it. Let them. She nodded, made a note. I'll have the attorney draft it this week. Evening came soft. I walked through downtown, past shops I'd never entered, streets I'd never explored. Found myself at a yarn store. The bell chimed as I entered. The owner looked up, smiled. Margaret, I haven't seen you in months. This was where I'd bought the blue yarn, for Jessica's scarf. New project? She asked. I looked at the shelves. Hundreds of colors. Maybe. I want something. Different. What were you thinking? Red, I said. Bright red. Her eyebrows lifted. I'd always chosen safe colors. Blue, beige, gray. New beginnings red? Yes. She pulled out skeins. Crimson. Scarlet. Ruby. I chose the brightest. Took 10. Big project, she said. I have time. For the first time in my life, I had time that was mine. Back at the apartment. I sat by the window, city lights beginning to glow, pulled out the yarn, the needles, cast on the first row. This scarf would be for me. Long, complex, months of work. But I had months. I had years. 68 wasn't old. 68 was finally free. The needles clicked. Soft, rhythmic. The red yarn bright in the lamplight. Behind me, the city hummed. I spent 68 years making things for others. This one is mine. I paused, opened the drawer beside me. The blue scarf lay inside, folded, perfect. I lifted it out, ran my fingers over the stitches, each one holding memory. Found the shell button. Still attached. I reattached it firmly to the corner, folded the scarf again, placed it in a box, wrote on the label in careful letters, "For someone who'll understand." I didn't know who yet, but I knew they existed. Somewhere, someone would see the love in every stitch. 2 weeks after the sale, Jessica's world imploded. I didn't witness it, but Helen told me. She heard from her daughter, who knew Jessica's wedding planner. Small town, word travels. Jessica called every beachfront venue within 50 miles, all booked for July. Summer weddings on the coast don't have openings 6 weeks out. She had 2 choices: move the wedding indoors, hotel ballroom downtown. No ocean, no sunset photos, nothing she'd promised Brandon's family. Or postpone, lose the photographer deposit. The florist, the band, $12,000 gone. Sarah called me from a new number. I saw it light up, let it go to voicemail. Later, I listened. Her voice cracked, angry, desperate. "Look what you've done to your granddaughter. Her wedding is ruined. Are you happy now? Does this make you feel powerful?" I deleted it. Her pain sounded distant, like someone I used to know. Jessica sent an email to 200 guests. "Due to unforeseen circumstances, the venue has changed." She tried to keep it vague. But someone, one of her so-called friends, posted it on social media. "What happened to the beach house wedding?" Then someone else answered. "I heard her grandmother sold the house, like, right before the wedding." The comments multiplied. Half defended me. Good for her. Sounds like the family was taking advantage. If my family tried to steal my house, I'd sell it too. She's probably been treated like a doormat for years. Finally stood up. The other half condemned me. How could she do that to her own granddaughter? That's so cruel. It's her wedding. Family is supposed to support each other. Jessica's Instagram, where she'd posted beach house photos for 6 months, building anticipation, became a battleground. I saw it because Helen showed me. I didn't comment. What was there to say? Daniel and Sarah's marriage cracked. Not over the house itself, over the plan. Daniel blamed Sarah. "Your emails, your scheming, she found them, and that's why she sold." Sarah blamed Daniel. "You were part of this. You wanted that legacy fund as much as I did." They'd had it all mapped out. Beach house to Jessica. Wedding venue first, then family retreat. Sell it in 10 years when the market peaked. Split the money. Create trust funds for future grandchildren. My $2.25 million was supposed to be their retirement security. Now, it was mine. Untouchable. Daniel drank more. I didn't see it. But Helen's husband played golf with Daniel's colleague. Word got back. "Dan's been different lately. Ordering doubles at lunch, missing afternoon meetings." Sarah faced her own collapse. The yacht club women, her circle, her status pulled away. Someone's husband was an attorney. He'd seen the public record of the sale, mentioned it to his wife. The story spread. Sarah tried to manipulate her mother-in-law out of her house. Can you imagine, the poor woman, after she lost her husband there? The invitations to bridge games stopped coming, the lunch dates canceled. Sarah's phone stayed quiet. I pictured her in that big house she'd wanted to appear perfect. Empty now, cold, no laughter. Just 2 people who'd gambled on greed and lost each other in the process. One evening, 3 weeks after the confrontation, I was reading in my apartment. My phone showed an unknown number calling. I answered. "Mom," Daniel's voice, rough, tired. "I'm downstairs, in your building lobby. I've been here 30 minutes. I looked out the window, saw his car in the parking lot. "I don't know if you'll even talk to me," he continued. "But I'm sorry. We were wrong. Sarah and I, we got caught up in plans, in money. We forgot what mattered." I listened, said nothing. "Can we talk, please?" "Not yet." Silence on his end. "I need time, Daniel. You need to understand why what you did was wrong. Not just that it failed, but why it was wrong." "I do understand." "Do you? Or are you sorry you got caught?" Another silence. "Think about it," I said. "When you have an answer, we can talk." I hung up, watched from my window as he stood in the parking lot for another 10 minutes, then drove away. The story reached my former students. Someone created a Facebook group, Mrs. Sullivan's Art Students. 87 members, people I'd taught over 30 years. They sent messages, emails, letters. You taught us to value our work, to never let anyone diminish what we create. I remember you saying, art isn't just what you make. It's standing up for what you believe in. You're practicing what you preached, Mrs. Sullivan. Thank you for showing us it's never too late. One student, Amy, now a journalist, wrote a blog post. My teacher sold her house to save her dignity. Why this is actually beautiful. It went viral. 50,000 shares. The comments section became a war zone. Family first, she's heartless. No, boundaries matter. Good for her. Imagine being so petty you'd ruin your granddaughter's wedding. Imagine being so entitled you'd steal your grandmother's house. I read it once, sent Amy a private message. Thank you for understanding. I hope I taught you that love without respect is just words. She responded immediately. You taught me everything that matters, including this. Jessica postponed the wedding to October. Smaller venue, tighter budget, indoor ceremony. Brandon, the groom I'd barely met, started asking questions. I heard this from Helen, who heard it from the wedding planner. Is your family always like this? What do you mean? The house thing, the Instagram, the drama. Is everything about appearances? Jessica didn't have an answer. Maybe she was starting to see what I'd seen, that she'd learned the wrong lessons, that value and worth aren't the same thing, that a handmade scarf with a shell button might be worth more than any venue. 3 months after I sold the house, a letter arrived, hand-addressed, Jessica's handwriting, neat, careful, the way I'd taught her when she was small. I held it. My hand shook, not from fear, from hope I didn't know I still had. I set the letter aside. Not yet. First, I needed to finish becoming who I was meant to be. 3 months in the downtown apartment changed everything. My mornings started at 7, not 5:30 to prepare for grandchildren who stopped seeing me years ago. 7 a.m., light through clean windows, coffee in a mug I chose myself. I found 7 different coffee shops within walking distance. Monday, the corner cafe with the good croissants. Tuesday, the bookstore coffee bar where I could read. Wednesday, the place with outdoor seating and people watching. Each day different, each day mine. I joined a yoga class for seniors, 12 people, ages 60 to 75, bodies that had lived. The instructor was patient, kind. Yoga isn't about perfection, it's about presence. I learned to breathe again, really breathe. Not shallow panic breaths while waiting for the next demand. Deep, full, free. Then I found the painting class, adult continuing education, Tuesday evenings. I hadn't painted in 40 years, hadn't had time, hadn't had permission from myself. The studio smelled like acrylic paint, turpentine, possibility, 12 students, ages 55 to 75, everyone with a story about why they'd stopped, why they were starting again. The instructor, a woman named Claire, maybe 40, walked between easels. Paint what you feel, not what you see. I painted the ocean, not the beach house view, not the specific coastline I'd left behind. The ocean as I imagined it now. Vast, open, endless, free. Claire stopped at my canvas. Margaret, you paint like you're releasing something. I am. She nodded, moved on. The studio windows let in evening light. Jazz played softly from a small speaker. My brush moved across canvas. Each stroke a small act of rebellion. Each color a choice no one questioned. I bought professional supplies afterward. $800, brushes, paints, canvas, an easel that folded but felt solid. The clerk asked if I was a professional. No, I said, just starting. These are expensive tools for a beginner. I'm 68. I don't have time to start small. I carried them home, set them up by the window. First time in my life I'd spent money on my passion without asking permission, without justifying, without apologizing. My doctor noticed at my checkup, Dr. Rachel Park, 50. Sharp eyes, she looked at my chart, then at me. Your blood pressure is normal. Good. It was dangerously high 6 months ago. What changed? I smiled. I removed toxic people from my life. She set down her clipboard. Family? Yes. She nodded slowly. Family can be the most toxic. Good for you. She listened to my heart. Strong, steady. You're sleeping? Through the night. No pills. The headaches? Gone. What are you doing differently? Everything. She wrote notes. Looked up. You look 10 years younger, Margaret. I feel it. I started walking in the city park each morning. Not the beach. Too many memories there still. The park was different. Trees instead of ocean. Joggers instead of gulls. I met a group of morning walkers. 3 women, 2 men, all 60s and 70s. They invited me to join. We walked together, talked, shared coffee after. One woman, Linda, mentioned a trip. We're going to Sedona in October. Red rocks, art galleries, hiking. Want to come? I haven't traveled in 15 years. Perfect time to start. I said yes. Just like that. No checking if anyone needed me. No rearranging my life around someone else's schedule. Just yes. My body changed. The tension I'd carried in my shoulders for decades gone. My posture straightened. I cut my gray hair into a neat bob. Modern. Clean. My face relaxed. The lines around my mouth softened. You're glowing, Linda said one morning. I was. Not from youth. From peace. I found the community center by accident. Walking. Exploring my new neighborhood. A flyer on the bulletin board. Volunteer art teachers needed. Underserved youth program. Saturdays. I took a photo. Called the number. Saturday morning. 15 kids. Ages 8 to 12. Diverse. Beautiful. Eager. I taught them the way I'd taught for 30 years. Patient. Encouraging. Never judging. A girl named Maria painted her family. But something was wrong in the picture. A rip. A tear. My family's broken, she said. I knelt beside her. Family can be complicated. But you can paint the family you wish for. Like magic? Like hope. She smiled, picked up her brush. The parents thanked me afterward. My daughter's never been this confident. You teach more than art. You teach self-respect. I realized something. This was family. Real family. People who valued love over transactions. Who saw worth, not price tags. I established a scholarship fund. $50,000 a year. For kids who wanted to study art but couldn't afford it. I named it carefully. The Handmade Love Scholarship. In memory of a blue scarf with a shell button. In memory of what love should be. That evening, I sat by my window. The city lights glowed. Jessica's letter waited on the table. The postmark wasn't from her address. Somewhere new. Somewhere I didn't recognize. I picked it up, turned it over, almost didn't open it. But I did. The letter shook slightly in my hands. I unfolded it, Jessica's handwriting, careful, deliberate. She'd rewritten this. I could tell. The paper showed faint indentations beneath the final words, earlier drafts pressing through. I read, Dear Grandma, I'm writing from a small town in Oregon. Brandon and I moved here after the wedding. We had a small ceremony, 20 people, no beach, no drama. I need to tell you something. You were right. That night I called your gift cheap. I saw Mom and Dad's faces. They were proud of me. For the first time in years, they approved. I chased that feeling my whole life. The wedding chaos showed me. They didn't care about my happiness. They cared about the venue, the photos, the show. Brandon asked me, Do you love me, or do you love what our wedding looks like? I didn't have an answer. We almost broke up, but he stayed. He helped me see. I became them. Shallow. Cruel. I found your scarf, the blue one. I looked closer this time. Every stitch is perfect. The shell button from our beach walk when I was 7. I remember now. I don't deserve forgiveness. But I need you to know. I'm trying to be better. Can we talk? Love, Jessica. I set the letter down. My eyes were wet. Not crying. Just feeling. I ran my fingers over the words. The paper crinkled slightly. She'd written this multiple times. Started over. Tried again. That meant something. I sat with it for 3 days. Read it again each morning. On the 3rd day, I called Helen. Should I see her? Helen was quiet a moment. Do you want to? Not should? Want? Part of me does. And the other part? is still hurt. Then, set boundaries, Helen said. Meet on your terms. I called the number written at the bottom of Jessica's letter. She answered on the first ring. Grandma? Her voice, small, hopeful, scared. I'll meet you, I said. But not at your place, not at mine, neutral ground. Anywhere, you choose. I thought for a moment. The coffee shop where your grandpa proposed to me. Next Saturday. 10 a.m. I'll be there. Jessica. Yes? Come ready to listen. Silence. Then, I will. I spent the week preparing, not just emotionally, practically. I sat at my kitchen table, wrote in my notebook what I needed to say, what boundaries to set, what conditions mattered. This wasn't about punishment. It was about protection. Mine and hers. The lamp glowed yellow. My tea cooled beside me. I wrote, 1. Respect. Always. Not just when convenient. 2. Honesty. No manipulation. 3. Boundaries. I will say no. You will accept it. 4. Time. This will be slow. I folded the list, put it in my wallet. Then I opened the drawer. The blue scarf lay inside. I lifted it out, folded it carefully, put it in my bag. I'd bring it. What happened next would tell me everything. Saturday morning. I arrived at the coffee shop 15 minutes early. The same place. 45 years later. The booth where Tom had knelt, pulled out a ring, asked me to build a life. I sat there now, alone but not lonely. At exactly 10 a.m., the door opened. Jessica, thinner than I remembered, eyes swollen like she'd been crying for weeks. No makeup, jeans, a plain sweater, not the Instagram version. Just Jessica. She saw me, crossed the room, sat down. We looked at each other. 30 seconds of silence. She spoke first. Grandma, I'm so sorry. I know. I read your letter. I was horrible. I don't know how to fix this. I leaned forward slightly. You can't fix it. You can only do better going forward. She nodded, swallowed. What do you need from me? I took a breath. I'll forgive you, Jessica. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means I won't let this poison me anymore. I understand. Do you? She met my eyes. I think so. I need respect. Real respect. Not when you need something. Always. I can do that. And honesty. No games, no manipulation like your parents taught you. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I don't want to be them. Then choose not to be. She wiped her face with the back of her hand, like she used to when she was small. I reached into my bag, pulled out the blue scarf, set it on the table between us. This is still yours, if you want it. Jessica stared at the scarf. Her hand trembled as she reached for it. She picked it up, slowly, like it might break, ran her fingers over the stitches, the way I had 3 months ago, the way I had when I made it. She found the shell button in the corner, tiny, perfect, still there. I remember this shell, she whispered. I picked it up. I was 7. We walked for hours. You said it was the most beautiful shell in the world. It still is. She pulled the scarf to her chest, held it, and cried, not apologizing, not performing, just grieving, for what she'd thrown away, for who she'd become, for the years she'd wasted chasing approval instead of love. I reached across the table, put my hand on hers, said nothing. Sometimes silence holds more than words. I don't deserve this, she said. Love isn't about deserving, it's about choosing. I'm choosing to try again. Morning light came through the coffee shop windows, warm, golden. The espresso machine hissed. Jazz played softly from speakers. The blue scarf lay between us. A bridge, from past to future. Jessica looked up, eyes red, but clear. Can I ask? Why did you keep it? After everything? I thought about that. Because I made it with love. That's mine. Your words couldn't take that away. She understood then. I could see it in her face. Value isn't determined by the receiver. It's inherent in the creator, in the intention, the effort, the love. She stood, draped the scarf around her shoulders. It fit perfectly. It's perfect, Grandma. It always was. We sat for another hour, ordered tea, talked, Real talking, not performing. Jessica told me about Oregon. Teaching preschool, small house, vegetable garden, Brandon working as a carpenter. Making furniture by hand. We live simply now, she said. No Instagram, no keeping up, just enough. Are you happy? She smiled. Small, real. I'm learning what happy means. I told her about my painting class, the scholarship fund, my trip to Sedona next month. You're different, she said. Lighter. I am. You're happy. Really happy. For the first time in years, yes. She laughed when I told her about my walking group, about Linda, about buying $800 in art supplies without asking permission. I poured more tea for both of us. These small moments, normal, honest, this is what family should be. When we stood to leave, we hugged. Brief, careful, tentative, but real. I'll call you next month? She asked. Yes, on your time, at my pace. I understand. Before she left, I gave her my conditions. Clear, firm, kind. I'll rebuild our relationship, but we start from zero. You earn trust back. Yes. I'll meet you monthly, but you come to me, on my time. Okay. I'll attend your life events, but I won't be used for show. I wouldn't. Your parents, I'm not ready. Maybe someday, not now. She nodded, didn't argue. And Jessica, if you ever dismiss my love again, handmade or not, we're done. Final. I understand. One more thing. She waited. I'm leaving you an inheritance, but you'll get it only if you can write me a letter. Not now. In 10 years. Explaining what love means. Not money. Not things. Love. She smiled through tears. That's fair. More than fair. I walked home through the city. The afternoon sun warmed my face. Back at my apartment, I made tea, sat by the window, looked out at the city lights beginning to glow. I wasn't someone's wife anymore, someone's mother, someone's grandmother. I was just Margaret, 68, free, whole. I thought about the journey. People will tell you, family first, always. But they don't tell you which family. The one that respects you, or the one that uses you? I gave 40 years to a house, but a house isn't a home if you're not free in it. I gave handmade love. They called it cheap. But cheap is a price tag. Love is priceless. Selling that house wasn't revenge, it was reckoning. Forgiving Jessica isn't a weakness, it's a choice. I'm 68. I don't have forever, but I have now. And now it is mine. I opened the box of red yarn, the scarf I'd been making for myself. It was longer now, more complex, beautiful. 2 more months of work, but I wasn't rushing. I had time. The needles clicked softly. Red yarn bright in the lamplight. Outside my window, the city glowed. Inside my chest, peace. The beach house is gone, torn down for condos. But the ocean? Still there, still free. I visit sometimes, different beaches, same waves. And I wear my red scarf, the one I made for me. Have you ever had to choose between keeping peace and keeping yourself? What would you have done with that house, with that family? I'd love to hear your story. Sometimes the hardest choices lead to the most beautiful freedoms.